Why the people you help often end up betraying you. Friedrich Nietzsche. Introduction. Have you ever helped someone when nobody else would? You supported them during their darkest moments. You gave them your time, your energy, your advice, sometimes even your money. You defended them when others criticized them. You stood by them when they had nothing. And yet, somehow, months or years later, they became distant, critical. Perhaps they even betrayed you. And the question that haunts you is simple. How could they do this after everything I did for them? Most people believe that kindness naturally creates gratitude, that generosity creates loyalty, that helping someone builds stronger relationships. But Friedrich Nietzsche understood something uncomfortable about human nature. Sometimes, the more you help someone, the more likely they are to resent you. Not because you did something wrong, but because your help triggered something deep inside them. Today, we'll uncover the hidden psychology behind betrayal, gratitude, pride, and resentment. And by the end of this video, you may never look at helping others the same way again. Part 1. The truth nobody wants to hear. There is a truth that most people avoid because it feels unfair. The person you help is not always grateful. In fact, sometimes they become the very person who turns against you. Nietzsche observed something fascinating. He believed that receiving significant help often creates an emotional burden. Because help creates debt, not necessarily financial debt, psychological debt. Imagine someone rescues you during a difficult period. You know deep down that, without them, you might have failed. At first, you're grateful, but over time, another feeling emerges. A feeling many people never admit. Dependence. And dependence can be painful for the human ego, because everyone wants to feel capable. Everyone wants to feel strong. Everyone wants to believe they can stand on their own. The moment someone helps us in a major way, that illusion is temporarily shattered. And not everyone handles that realization well. Part 2. The invisible humiliation of receiving help. Most people focus on the beauty of helping. Few people think about what it feels like to be helped. Imagine losing your job, going through financial hardship, experiencing failure. Then someone comes and saves you. From the outside, it seems wonderful, but internally, another story may be unfolding. A voice quietly whispers, "I couldn't do it alone. I needed someone else. I wasn't strong enough." Nietzsche called attention to the human desire for power and self-mastery, not power over others, power over oneself. The ability to feel independent, capable, strong. When someone helps us during our weakest moments, they become a living reminder of that weakness. Every time we see them, we remember a version of ourselves we don't want to remember, a vulnerable version, a helpless version. And some people begin to associate the discomfort with the person who helped them, not because the helper did anything wrong, but because their presence reminds them of a painful truth. Part 3. When gratitude turns into resentment. At first, gratitude feels genuine. The person thanks you. They appreciate your support. They promise they'll never forget. And they mean it. But human psychology is complicated. As time passes, gratitude can slowly transform. The emotional debt remains. The memory remains. And if they cannot repay what you've done, a new emotion appears. Here, the guilt becomes discomfort. The discomfort becomes frustration. The frustration becomes resentment. Eventually, they start looking for someone to blame. And unfortunately, the easiest target is often the person who helped them. The very person who acted out of kindness. This is why some people begin criticizing their benefactors, why they distance themselves, why they suddenly become cold. It's easier to resent the source of discomfort than to confront their own feelings. Part 4. The hidden power imbalance. Every relationship contains an invisible balance. Healthy relationships feel equal. Both people contribute. Both people give and receive. But when one person consistently gives and the other consistently receives, that balance begins to shift. You provide opportunities. You provide support. You solve problems. You offer resources. Slowly, an unspoken hierarchy emerges. Even if you never intended it, even if you remain humble, the imbalance still exists. And many people dislike feeling dependent. Some would rather destroy the relationship than continue feeling inferior. Nietzsche understood this deeply. Human beings often protect their pride at all costs, even when doing so damages valuable relationships. Their ego becomes more important than gratitude, more important than loyalty, more important than truth. Part 5. When your help becomes a mirror. Sometimes your help reveals something even more painful, the gap between you and them. Perhaps you are more disciplined, more financially stable, more emotionally mature, more focused, more successful. When you help someone, these differences become impossible to ignore. Your success becomes a mirror, and not everyone likes what they see reflected back. A mirror doesn't create insecurity, it reveals it. Instead of using your example as inspiration, some people interpret it as a threat. Instead of learning from you, they compete with you. Instead of admiring you, they criticize you. This is where jealousy enters the picture. Nietzsche called this resentment, a psychological reaction that occurs when people feel powerless compared to someone else. Unable to rise, they attempt to pull others down. Unable to improve themselves, they attack those who have. And sadly, this often happens between people who were once very close. Part 6. Why you are not the problem. One of the biggest mistakes people make after betrayal is blaming themselves. I was too generous. I cared too much. Trusted too much. Sometimes that's true, but often the betrayal has very little to do with your actions and everything to do with the other person's internal struggles. The human ego is fragile. People want support, but they don't want dependence. People want help, but they don't want weakness. People want generosity, but they don't want emotional depth. These conflicting desires create tension, and sometimes that tension explodes in unhealthy ways. Criticism, jealousy, distance, betrayal. Understanding this doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it helps you stop taking every betrayal personally. Not every betrayal is proof that you failed. Sometimes it is proof that someone else could not handle their own emotions. Part 7. Nietzsche's most important lesson. So, should we stop helping people? Absolutely not. But we should help differently. Many people help in ways that create dependency. They solve every problem, make every decision, carry every burden, rescue others repeatedly. At first, this feels compassionate, but eventually weakens the other person. Because dependency grows, confidence shrinks, autonomy disappears. True help should create strength, not dependence, empowerment, not obligation, growth, not attachment. The greatest gift you can give someone is not your power, it is helping them discover their own. Part 8. How to help without being betrayed. Here are 5 principles inspired by Nietzsche's understanding of human nature. First, never help someone simply to be liked. Approval is a weak foundation for generosity. Second, never expect lifelong gratitude. People change, memories fade, Circumstances evolve. There. Never remind others of what you've done for them. True generosity does not keep score. Or only give what you can freely release. If you're secretly expecting loyalty, admiration, or repayment, disappointment becomes inevitable. Never sacrifice yourself to save someone else. Support them, guide them, encourage them, but do not carry responsibilities that belong to them. Conclusion. Here is the final truth. Strong people are inspired by help. Weak people often feel threatened by it. Not always, but often enough to understand. Emotionally mature people appreciate support because they see it as a bridge toward independence. Emotionally immature people see support as proof of their inadequacy, and because they cannot face that feeling directly, they project it outward, sometimes through criticism, sometimes through jealousy, sometimes through betrayal. The next time you help someone, remember this. Helping is not saving. Giving is not sacrificing yourself. Loving is not abandoning your own needs. And kindness does not require self-destruction. The highest form of generosity is not making people dependent on you. It is helping them become strong enough to no longer need you. Because true power is not creating followers. True power is creating independent individuals. And perhaps that is the deepest lesson Friedrich Nietzsche wanted us to understand about human nature. Not everyone you help will remain grateful. But that should never stop you from being wise. Because wisdom is knowing how to give without losing yourself in the process.